Hi, Ashley. Welcome to the Arthritis Life podcast.
Hi, Cheryl. How are
Mhm.
you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here. I wish I could go visit you in Texas, maybe someday.
Yes. Yes, you should. You have a
Yeah.
friend in Texas for sure.
Oh, that's so nice. So let's start.
Yes.
Can you just tell the audience just a little bit about yourself? Oh, I already gave away where you live. What's your relationship to arthritis?
Okay, well, my name is Ashley Nicole, and as Cheryl mentioned, I do live in Dallas, Texas. However, I'm originally from Alabama, so I am an Alabama girl living in a big old Texas world, and I love it. I've been here for 11 years in Texas, and so my relationship with arthritis, I actually have rheumatoid arthritis. And so I started experiencing symptoms at the age of 21. My mother has rheumatoid arthritis, and so does my grandmother. But when I started experiencing pain, I refused to believe that that's what it was until one day it hit me. Like I said, I was 21 years old, so I was in college. And so I was working in retail during the time as well. And so I thought that my hands were achy because I was constantly folding clothes, hanging clothes. And I also played the saxophone for years. So I was like, oh, it's just carpal tunnel from all that, playing like Lisa Simpson. No, that's not what it was. So I woke up in my dorm room one day and it had just kind of really just took over my whole body. Like I just had a huge flare up. And even though now, like the issues are just in my wrist, but that particular day, like it just took over. So, getting out of bed, combing my hair, brushing my teeth, putting on clothes just became just so hard to do. And so I went to urgent care because at the time I didn't have the best insurance to actually go to a specialist. So I went to urgent care and they just kind of brushed it off. They were like, just take some Aleve or Tylenol and you'll be fine. So there was no official diagnosis. I literally took Aleve for 6 years. So I
Oh,
didn't get
no.
officially diagnosed until I was 27, until I moved here to Dallas
Oh,
and I
my
had,
gosh.
good insurance. And I was like, okay, now it's time to go and see what's happening here. But leading up to that 6 years, like I had gained 65 pounds and so that made everything worse. And
Mhm.
so, yeah. So I could go on and on, Cheryl. So
Yeah.
just stop me because I might be answering questions that you may be asking me later. But yeah, so I started experiencing symptoms at 21, took a leave, like everything was fine. And it wasn't until I
Yeah.
was 27 when I was officially diagnosed.
Wow. And I know that it's such a common experience. Multiple things that you've said are common. First one
Mm-hmm.
is just when you're young and you start having hand pain, you just think, oh, I overdid it. Like I thought that I had hurt myself playing soccer because, you're always getting bumps and bruises and not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily on your hands, but I thought, oh, I must have fallen and like forgotten that that's what I
Right.
did. Or, like you were saying, folding clothes, it's not the first thing that comes to mind. Like, oh, maybe I have a systemic autoimmune disease,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then,
And like I said, my mom, she has it. My
yeah.
grandmother has it, but I was like, there's just no way. Honestly, like I didn't even think about it. And I don't even know why my mom didn't even really think about it. Like, I don't know.
Well, I think no one wants
Yeah.
their child to have it. And,
Right.
and then also the experience of going to urgent care. I'm so sorry that you didn't get taken more seriously. I mean, their job,
Mhm.
it's weird because they're kind of like emergency department is just their job is to make sure that you like don't die, so
Yes.
they're not like
Right.
necessarily diagnosing rheumatoid arthritis there, but in
Mhm.
urgent care is kind of an in between. But I wish that they had listened to because with the family history is such an important nugget there,
It is.
so
Hmm.
but hindsight's 2020. So then you did get your diagnosis, and I'm
I
curious
did.
with having that family history and seeing what your mom and grandma went through, what was
Hmm.
your emotional response to the diagnosis at 26?
Well, I wasn't surprised, even though I was in denial. I wasn't surprised when I got the official diagnosis. Now, I was, however, surprised when I got diagnosed and she did the x rays of my hands, because, like I said, that's primarily where the issues are. That's where the deformities are starting to happen, kind of. But yeah, so I wasn't surprised, but like once I saw the actual x-rays, and I was like, oh gosh, because she was like, so this is what your wrists are supposed to look like, this is what yours look like. And she was like, because honestly, like I don't have any range of motion, and you can kind of see the deformities, the differences there. But, she told me that because I went so long without a diagnosis, there's no way to reverse the damage that's been done. However, we could stop the progression. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what was the first thing she put me on? I think the first medicine I was on was Humira, was the injection. And so, that worked for me for a good while until it didn't. And so that's a whole nother story. That might be a whole different podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it's so common, like you said, to have medication, ups and downs. And I know that, I want to skip forward to today.
Yes.
To now you're known in the, social media community and the arthritis community for being an RA warrior. For those of you who are
Yes.
watching the video version, she has her RA warrior
I
shirt
do.
on, like RA warrior fitness. And then, and that you inspire others, through faith, food, and fitness, which I love. And how did you, I'm curious, how did you learn the importance of these things in your journey?
In my journey?
Yeah.
Well, faith always for me comes first. And faith, you can kind of look at it a couple of different ways. So, I am a Christian, so I have strong, strong faith in God, that through him, I can do anything. And honestly, I feel like he's the reason why, I am where I am today. And then also just having faith in yourself that you can absolutely do anything that you put your mind to, regardless of your physical limitations. Because I will kind of say that, when I went through my whole ordeal where I had gained a ton of weight and everything. And then once I got diagnosed, I was like, okay, so I need to educate myself on anti-inflammatory foods and get my body moving to get some of this weight off of my joints. And so through that journey, I fell in love with fitness and decided I wanted to become a personal trainer. So that was in 2018 when I decided I wanted to become a personal trainer. And so the person that was close to me at the time told me, how can you be a personal trainer and you have rheumatoid arthritis? How are you going to show someone how to do a push-up and you can't do a push-up? So just super, super negative. So I will say, because of my strong faith in God, the faith that I had in myself, my strong family foundation, they were just so supportive. That really helped me to just go ahead and push through and get my certification anyway. And so, faith, I feel like, plays a very important role in everything that you do. And that also goes along with mindset, having a positive mindset, because you and I both know, having RA, I mean, there are some good days and there's some bad days, but I feel like if you have a positive mindset and, a good outlook on life, like, I feel like you can kind of change, how your day is going to go. You might wake up and be like, okay, I'm in pain, but I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to get up, I'm going to stretch these joints, and, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put on my brace and I'm just going to, kill the day. So, that's the importance of faith along the way. And then food, you are what you eat, right?
It's really confusing though. I always say this because it's been one of the, I feel like the food is the one that I have the hardest time wrapping my mind around, because there's so many different options that legitimately work for different people, as opposed to strength training is going to benefit pretty much everyone. Right? There might be a different modality to it. Like you might be doing different levels of weights or repetitions, but but some people will go gluten-free and do really great. And some will be like, nothing happened. I'm curious, how did you sift through? Did you have that same experience of being like, where do I even start with food and RA?
Yeah, I did, because I kind of knew what I was doing wrong in the first place, because I was going to happy hours 2 or 3 times a week and, didn't realize how much sugar was in those margaritas and, eating fried, fatty foods and things. And so for me, once I started to educate myself on anti-inflammatory foods, I was like, okay, I need to eliminate the processed foods, the fried foods, stick to, lean meats, colorful veggies, fruits, whole grains, and some people, like you said, can do a gluten-free diet, and another person will, and it really won't, be the same results. And same with dairy. Like, I still eat dairy, but there are other people that I know, with RA, they say, dairy is bad for them. So it's almost like there's no one size fit all. But at the end of the day, I always tell my clients, whatever you eat, you're either feeding the disease or you're fighting it. So you definitely want to fight it with healthy foods, your fish, your chicken, your turkey, your lean meats, veggies, fruits, whole grains, and an occasional red wine.
If you're overwhelmed, you can start by saying,
right,
I'm going to eat the same healthy foods I've been eating, and I'm just going to try to cut down on the pro-inflammatory versus I'm going to keep eating these pro-inflammatory, but I'm going to eat some other anti-inflammatory things. And then maybe see if that helps. Because, it's all about like balance and getting quality of life at the end of the day. And there are lots of people out there who, that are able to have a good quality of life, even without like the I'm always trying to say, don't try to have like the perfect diet. I don't know if you agree. It's okay to disagree, but
no, but you're right. You're right. And honestly, that's what I tell my clients too. I'm like, you don't have to eliminate, the pizza and even the burgers. It's just, a healthy balance, if you choose pizza, maybe go with a thinner crust or a gluten-free crust or a cauliflower crust and, and do it that way. And even if I decide I want a burger, maybe I won't eat the bread, I'll have the burger with all of the condiments, or even get a turkey burger or a chicken burger and get some sweet potato fries, or instead of fries, get a salad on the side, so just making healthy swaps. It doesn't have to be boring. It's not just all about salads all the time, but, just all things in moderation.
No,
because Lord knows I love me some pizza and wings.
Yeah. And I think it's not, for your overall like quality of life and mental health, it's not good to be in a place where you feel like you're constantly denying yourself something that gives you pleasure. So a little in moderation is great, but saying, okay, but overall, I also have a goal of, maintaining a level of health that's going to be good for me long term. So, I want to always ask, like, if there was a specific resource you found helpful. Did you find a particular like book or website helpful, or did you just sort through it on your own?
Not really. I just kind of sorted through. I did my own research, and then I created my own document, that I give to my clients and everything. So I've got all the spices and everything that you can think of that's anti-inflammatory, like, choose things from this list and you'll be good. So
that's so handy. That's so helpful.
Yeah.
And then the third pillar is fitness, which is what you're known for too.
Yes.
So I think your journey, there's just something so captivating about such a stark like before and after. Like you did have like a sedentary lifestyle and you weren't really prioritizing, it sounded like, fitness before. And then when you got your diagnosis, you did. So I'm so curious, like how that evolved.
Yeah. So I just fell in love with it. I will say, after I had gained that 65 pounds, and this was even before my diagnosis, I didn't realize how much weight I gained until I saw myself in a photo. I knew I was buying larger clothes and everything, but when I saw myself in the photo, I was like, okay, I have to do something. So my first really experience with fitness, I joined Jazzercise. And I know that's
love it. I love Jazzercise.
I did. I joined Jazzercise because I was like, okay, this needs to be fun. And it was fun. It was so much fun. I loved it. So I probably did that for about a year before I actually got my official gym membership and started going to the gym. And so just over time, I just really embraced fitness. And I noticed that it was helping me, in my joints. I wasn't in pain as much. And of course, as the weight started to come off and when I started eating better, I just felt better overall. And I really do believe that statement, movement is medicine. Like, I can't imagine not being active because, if ever, something happens and I might have a flare or something, or let's say I don't work out for like maybe a week, like I can tell it. My body is like, whoa, what's happening? And my mom's the same way. So she tries to exercise at least 5 days a week just to keep going. And so I just realized what a difference it made in my life, my mood, and how I felt. And, I just never want to stop. I feel like too, as we age, especially women, our muscles kind of start to atrophy anyway. So I feel like it's so important, to continue and do that strength training at least 2 days a week, 2 to 3 days. 3 is amazing, but even if you can get 2 days a week in, making sure that you're targeting each muscle group, that's better than nothing. Cardio is necessary too, but strength training definitely is a must.
And the fatigue, that was the other one I meant to say too, the fatigue improvements with cardio and strength exercise are huge. And you'd think it's so counterintuitive because you think, wait, I spend energy while exercising. So that would mean I'm going to be more tired because I have less total energy, but it's actually like your body moves more efficiently.
Yeah.
So you actually don't get as tired with your daily activities.
That's why I love exercising in the morning too. Because it just kind of gives me that boost for the day. Anytime I exercise in the evening, I'm wired and it takes me forever to wind down to go to sleep.
That's so funny. It's so similar. Yeah. And I loved how you said earlier, movement is medicine. And just for anyone listening that might be feeling like intimidated by exercise, think movement. That's what I say. Just like you said, jazzercise. You did jazzercise for a full year to kind of kickstart your fitness journey. And that's amazing. Getting yourself moving. That could be gardening is moving,
Absolutely.
Walking the dog is moving, just that's starting. Movement.
Yeah. Just getting in motion and celebrating what you can do. Don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do and do more of that, and like you said, it could be hobbies like gardening, walking, cycling, and as far as like equipment, like if you did have access to gym equipment, the elliptical is amazing, or the stationary bike or what have you, you've got options. And even without the equipment, things at home, because one of my clients asked me today, it's 30 degrees outside, how am I supposed to get my steps in? Because I do, give her a step goal of at least 8,000 steps per day. And I was like, so I went to YouTube and sent her a video of this walking video. You can literally walk at home.
Yep.
Walk to the beat of the music and, add a little something, and you can get creative.
Oh, so true. In Seattle, I used to be really tough. I would run every day, rain or shine, even in the snow. And when I lived in New York, those days are over. Like I'm definitely more of I bought a under $200 stationary bike. And it folds up, like it's for small spaces. So it could work in apartments or houses. And it's so great because it doesn't matter, the weather. I could do it while my son's watching his Sunday morning cartoons. I could just be sitting there like, for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And making it convenient and easy for you is so great. And you mentioned, I'm going to ask a question that I forgot to prepare you for, but hopefully this won't be too hard. But I wonder, some people might never have worked with a personal trainer before. So can you describe the process of like, what's it like to work with a personal trainer for rheumatoid arthritis?
Yeah, sure. So what I typically do, my whole process is I do a health assessment. So I give them this video to watch, which is kind of like a brief webinar, about 14 minutes, kind of talking about my journey and what the process would look like for them. And so then we would have like a free discovery call to talk about, their thoughts about the video and just kind of where they are. Cause I always want to gauge where they are in their journey, what physical limitations they may have so that I can know how to frame their program. Because honestly, I can't just have, one program because, everybody's needs are different. I might have one client that has arthritis in their wrists and another client where it's their knees. So of course they won't have the same, program. So, it's getting to know them. And then I give them a health assessment where I have them rate themselves on a scale from 1 to 10 in different areas, as far as, their mindset, affirmations, and their nutrition, portion control, water intake, vitamins, all that good stuff, just to kind of see where they are so that I can evaluate, what other areas they need help in, because it's not just working out and nutrition, Like, I have a full service like coaching program. So, I coach on mindset, goal setting, journaling, all of these things. And so from there, after the health assessment, I'm able to kind of, see where they are and put a program together with them. And it helps because I did niche down and I specifically target women, living with rheumatoid arthritis. I understand where they are, because oftentimes I'm kind of talking to, my former self. And
totally.
I'm talking to my former self. And even, now, depending on the day, I might still have some of those issues. So, that helps that I'm able to relate with them, because I have worked with a couple of clients who say, I tried this personal trainer and they just didn't understand, that my range of motion is not there. My mobility isn't there, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. So, I think that's why my clients do appreciate me so much, because I can relate and, can definitely show them how to do different exercises and modifications and things, and let them know that, hey, our push-up might not be a regular push-up. It's not going to look like everybody else's, but it's still impactful and it'll help you. So
that's so great. Like, and as an occupational therapist, we're kind of like obsessed with modifications and adaptations too. So yeah, I would love to take a little time and just, if you can give some examples, like, let's think about just someone with the typical rheumatoid arthritis pattern of like swelling and pain in the fingers and wrists, let's say. So what would be some modifications for exercises like push-ups? What would you do?
Well, honestly, if the swelling is there, like, especially if you've got, issues with your wrist, I wouldn't recommend like a hands down push up, because me personally, like, my hands just don't go flat on the ground because my wrists, no mobility there. So, I typically do a chest press. So I'll lay on my back and I'll grab some dumbbells. It can be 5s, 10s, whatever my wrist can handle. And I'll just press. And so that's my version of a push-up. Or you can also do it elevated. Try your countertop. And that's less pressure on the wrist. So, and I wouldn't even start with a whole bunch of reps, like try, maybe 8 reps and see how that goes for you. And, if there's no, severe pain, then, try another 8 reps and maybe do 3 sets of 8 and work your way up, as you get stronger. So I used to be able to kind of do them on my fist. Now that's how I do a burpee. I was always determined to try to do a burpee because I could never do a burpee. So, with, of course, gloves on and wrist support, I'm able to go down on my knuckles, on my fists, in order to do a modified burpee. And so, that helps too. Just making sure that you have, cushion and that you're protecting your joints too. So
Yeah. Something I've done, I don't know if you recommend this, but is going, instead of doing an actual push-up, just doing like a plank, but on my forearms.
Yes.
And like instead, so that's actually just hard for me to just sustain, at this point in my fitness. So it's just for some people, just holding that for 10 seconds, like with good form, not like collapsing, is challenging,
Yeah, it is. But that is a very good way to strengthen your core, because I feel like having a strong core, that's your core supports everything else, so that's definitely helpful. I love a good plank challenge too.
Yeah. Your treatment plans or your recommendations are very individualized, to the person, right? Like it's the same with occupational therapy. But when someone just wants to maybe do, let's say, do the easiest at home, strengthening plan, do you have them use like household items, like, the traditional, like cans of soup,
Yes, absolutely.
That's so great.
Okay. Yeah. I did a live workout last week, because each week on social media, I try to have a topic and I try to stick to that topic for the whole week. So last week was about strength training for arthritis. And so I did a live workout on last Friday. And I told them, I was like, grab some canned soup, grab a couple of bottles of water, whatever you have, and let's get to work. And so you can literally use what you have at home. There's no excuses. And I've even done a full workout with a book, like a book, a book in a chair.
Totally. Or like, one of the things that's helped me get into a routine is what's called habit stacking. Have you ever heard of this phrase? Yeah, where you take a habit you're already doing, like brushing your teeth, which I'm really good about, and stacking the new habit on top of that. So saying, okay, right after I brush my teeth, or even while I brush my teeth, I'm going to do a wall sit to strengthen my quads, and then, and so that's like a little tip, or like, yeah, doing it in places like some people like the idea of like getting dressed in a new outfit and like going to a gym, or, like having it be something that it's like, I'm devoting my time to it and I'm getting out of the house. Whereas other people, they want to just get it done in the most easy, convenient place. Like I literally the other day just did my exercise bike in my pajamas still. Cause I was like, I can just put my shoes on and just do like, the clothes are going to get sweaty anyway. I'll just put them in the wash, and it was like, so you kind of have to know yourself. But anyway, those are just some random ideas, but
exactly. I do like that though.
Yeah.
I do like that. Cause I know one challenge that I had one time with my clients, I was like, every time you go to the bathroom, do 10 squats.
It's so great.
Yeah, do 10 squats over the toilet, and every time you go.
Or like, let's say like, when I'm making my coffee, I do like the French press and it steeps for 4 minutes. I just thought of this. I haven't been doing this, but I was like, I could get in 4 minutes. Like usually just sit there and scroll on my phone or something. I could get 4 minutes of like calf raises or like, a combination of things like.
Exactly. Oh, you've just given me some ideas.
I know.
Oh yes. My clients are going to love this.
No, it's so fun. I think
stackable habits. I love that.
Yeah, I really appreciate that your social media content, which of course I'm linking to in the show notes. You make it fun and accessible. And even though like, if I look at you, I'm like, she's so strong, I'm never going to be that buff. It's all about like starting where you're at,
Exactly. And that's the thing too. I feel like a lot of us are guilty of looking at other people on social media, and they're just showing like the best version of themselves. We don't know what they had to do to get there, what their journey was like. Everybody's journey is different, and everyone, tends to kind of show you the best of the best. But I try to be extremely transparent,
yes,
in my journey and everything. And like, every day is not great, but you can find something great in every day.
Yeah.
So I always try to turn it around and make it positive. But comparing yourselves to others and thinking, I would love to be more like her. No, you be the best version of you. That's what I tell my clients. Be the best version, a healthier version of yourself. It's you versus you. Be your own body goals,
Yeah.
So
I think that there's some smart person said like comparison is the thief of joy.
It is.
Isn't that beautiful? It's so true. And I think it's interesting, like positive thinking I have like a complicated relationship with that, because I do think it can backfire when people try to force themselves to minimize the sadness that they might be feeling, or minimize their feelings and say, only acknowledge the positive. But it is helpful to say, here's the totality of my experience right now, right? I might be feeling grief about my new diagnosis. I might be feeling ashamed of myself. Like for me, I'll just be honest, like as a former athlete, I was playing high level soccer every day when I got my diagnosis. Like I lost like 25 pounds of muscle right before my diagnosis. It's actually, I found out just a few years ago, it's called rheumatoid cachexia, which is like severe muscle wasting when you have really bad inflammation from rheumatoid arthritis, but I didn't have my diagnosis yet. My body was wasting away and I was like, what's going on? Wow. But the point is, because I used to like either run or lift weights every day. And then I got this diagnosis, and then I became more like a dancer. I started swing dancing. That's why I got excited when you said jazzercise. But then, the reason I'm mentioning this is this was literally half my lifetime ago. Like I just turned 40. That was when I was like 20. And like, I still, so much of my life, like for those like 15 years before my diagnosis, I was consider myself, I'm an athlete. I'm athletic. I'm wearing my Letterman's jacket to school. I'm in like the soccer player clique. You know what I mean? That's part of who I am. So now when I have had to confront the fact that, I haven't been maintaining my fitness as well as I wish I had, so we're talking about feelings and validating them. I feel ashamed. And it doesn't mean that I need to wallow in that, but I can say, okay, what is that shame telling me? That shame is telling me that like, there's a person I used to be and then there's a person I am now.
Right.
And I want to kind of take the positives of who I was before, like, that fitness and athletic kind of tenacious personality. And I could use that to not just say, oh, I'm just going to think positive. Like, it doesn't matter that you're not as fit anymore. Like, oh no, I want to say like, okay, I validate the part of me that feels ashamed or feels sad or grieves the loss. But then I also say, like you said, what can you do today? What can I do today? What can I do tomorrow to improve my fitness? And
absolutely.
And that's the positive part. Sorry, that was such a long way of saying that.
No, but I totally get it, because you never want to discount someone's feelings, and because you have a right to feel what you feel, and that's fine. But my thing is, you can't stay there, you can't stay there. You've got to, find a way to work your way out of that and really try to turn it around for good, because I mean, even the scripture says, all things work together for good. And even though, we may be going through some hard times and bad days, there's still a way that you can kind of turn it around and celebrate, what you can do and what is going right, instead of focusing on what's going wrong and what used to be and what isn't anymore. You just got to turn it around.
Well, and there's something I think so therapeutic with when you start changing your habits, even tiny little changes. Like I said, I really don't, because I've had so many people on here who've like, I don't know if you've heard of orthorexia, which is like an eating disorder where people get obsessive about eating perfect, like eating clean, eating perfect. Like this definitely want to be, I know now I'm like,
I didn't know it was a term for that.
It is. It's a newer thing I didn't used to realize, but it's like it's a trap a lot of newly diagnosed patients can fall down of, like just wanting to only eat the perfect things and only do the perfect diet and or perfect exercise plan. And like, that can be a little bit of a hole you dig yourself in, because there's no balance in your life anymore. Like your life is the reason to do the fitness and to do the nutrition and to work on your mindset, and is to be able to engage in your life. Like what are things are, and maybe, fitness and cooking are maybe important, like, things to you, but you're also so much more than those habits, right? You're like, you're a daughter, you're a friend, you're a coworker, you're, in your case, like you're an entrepreneur. Like there's so many things that make you and make your life meaningful. So I'm sorry, I forget where I was starting with that sentence.
No, it's okay. But I mean, it's all valid points. You're right.
Actually, speaking of you, starting your business, RA Warrior Fitness LLC, I was so fascinated when I read that you had started it in January 2020. Yes. What was it like to start a business 2 months before a worldwide pandemic?
Yeah, well, clearly I didn't know the pandemic was going to happen. Clearly, but it really worked out for the best, because I was working full time at the time, and because of the pandemic, I lost my job. So it was good that I had started the process in January, because it helped to carry me up to where I am now.
What kind of work were you doing before?
I was a fundraiser in nonprofit.
Oh, I can see you being so good at that. Okay.
Yes. Work for a local nonprofit in fundraising. And so we did a lot of our fundraising through events. And so, of course, once COVID hit, we couldn't host events. So literally it's a national nonprofit, and they had to cut like 40% of the staff across the US. It was pretty bad. But anyways, going back to January, I had gone to one of my friend's events she had that was called Godfidence. And so she asked us all to come and kind of be ready to create a plan for the year, because we all just knew 2020 was just going to be the best year, right?
Best year ever.
And so we created vision boards, and, we shared what we wanted to do, because we're all, entrepreneurs and, well, just trying to be entrepreneurs. And so, we just kind of, wrote out the vision. That's what the scripture says, Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision, make it plain on tablets. So that's what we did. We wrote our goals down. And so from there, I went through a fast with my church, and the focus was on purpose. And so literally for 21 days, that's what, we talked about was purpose. And so I was like, okay, I'm ready to walk in my purpose. I'm ready for this. And so that's when when I decided I was ready to put my personal training certification to use, because I told you I got the certification back in 2018, but I hadn't used it yet because I was still hearing that voice in my head saying, how are you going to show someone how to do something you can't do? You have RA. But, once I moved on and kind of let go of the negative baggage that I was carrying, I was like, okay, this is going to be it. So anyway, so I got my LLC in January. February, I started building my website and everything. And then when March came, early March, like before everything shut down, one of my friends called and was like, hey, I have this online platform where personal trainers can put their programs online. You should do it. I was like, oh my God, I was looking for this. So yeah, so I did that. And then March 17th came, everything shut down, gym shut down. I was working from home at that point with my full-time job. And so I was like, okay, I've got to go ahead and launch my program. So literally on March 25th, I launched, I promoted everything through Facebook and Instagram, and I had like 60 people to sign up.
I love that. I read that on your website, and I remember, I think it said on your website that you weren't really sure. Oh, is anyone going to sign up?
Yeah. I was like, oh, maybe, 10. My goal was 10. Literally my goal was 10. But yeah, I had 60 people to sign up, and it's just, continue to grow from there. And at that time, even though the name of the company is RA Warrior Fitness, I was just kind of trying to help everybody. Hey, if you want to get fit, in the pandemic, I can help you. But just this year, I was like, okay, I need to niche down. And because I know it's so many other women out there like me, like who I used to be, that need my help. And so that's who I'm speaking to with every post now.
Yeah. When it works, because it's like you are an RA warrior helping people with fitness, but you're also helping them become RA warriors.
Exactly.
So it's like a double. I just realized that's like a double meaning, but no, it is. I'm sure other people are inspired too, but I feel inspired by, how you were able to grow this so much during the pandemic. And it's when so many people have needed we've needed things we can do at home, to still promote our health and still feel like we're, managing our condition. Or there's been so many people that I've met over the last year and a half that have just gotten their initial diagnosis during the pandemic. And I'm like, gosh, it used to be that you would be referred to like a local person, oh, here's a physical trainer you can go, or personal trainer you can go to, or physical therapist or occupational therapist. And now it's like, one of the weird positives of the pandemic has been that people are more aware of like, well, wait, even though Ashley's down in Texas, but you can access her program from anywhere. You could literally be in Alaska.
And I've got clients like all over.
That's so cool.
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
It's really cool. So I just thank God every day that I'm doing something that I love, and I've turned this diagnosis around and using it, as a platform to help other women like me. And so, it was part of his plan. So,
wow. That's so cool. I know. I feel like I'm always fascinated talking to people with different beliefs. Like we had, Renee, the rheumatoid arthritis mama on, and she's has a very strong, faith. And like, I'm agnostic. I'm kind of like, I'm not sure, like maybe there's a God, maybe there's not. So, but it's like, I always want to know what is helping people, right? Like, because like both of us are the same. We want to help people with rheumatoid arthritis. And it's obvious to me when talking to people like you that having a faith in a higher power is really helpful for you, on your journey. It gives you that grounding,
Right. Absolutely.
So
the foundation.
Yeah, that's, and hopefully I'm respectful of that, even though I'm like, I still feel I feel very confused in my own faith. I'm like, I don't know. I think something's right, but I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah. But, well, that's perfectly fine.
Be where you, like you said before, be where you are, just be where you are, take it where you see yourself, accept yourself where you are today.
Yes.
And one of my kind of passions too, is like helping people in that truly like beginner stage, that like newly diagnosed, like, oh my gosh, where do I get started? Like, what would you, or there might even, in this case, my question was going to be like, what advice do you have for someone with rheumatoid arthritis who are just, they may have had it for 10 years, but they just now are trying to get started with fitness. What would be some advice you have for them? You've already shared so many nuggets, but just
absolutely.
Anything else?
So I would kind of just, reiterate, start where you are, celebrate the things that you can do, and know that that's enough. Be okay and know that that's enough. Because the more that you get into the habit and get stronger, you'll be able to do more things, but just start where you are right now with what you have. You don't need a ton of equipment. You don't have to go get a full-on gym membership, grab a couple of cans of soup, a couple of bottles of water, and get to work, turn on YouTube and get to walking it out, And so just start where you are and really rely on a good support system, because that helps. Because Cheryl, I will say that the RA community, especially on Instagram, is amazing. I just love that you and I have connected. I've connected with so many others, and we really work together to lift each other up. So I would also say, get you a good support system, get you a coach. Get you a health and fitness coach who understands, where you are and can help you to get to where you want to go in your journey. So
I love that you focus on more. And I know that you more than quote unquote just fitness. Fitness is obviously a huge area. Business, food, and also mindset, and faith in yourself and faith in higher power, if that's in your wheelhouse and or in your interest area. And it's just for me, I'm always trying to tell people, when I'm talking to other providers, especially health providers, it's not just joint pain. It's not just joint, right? We haven't even talked about joint pain this whole episode, have we? I mean, it's a small part of, definitely I don't want to minimize it. For some people, the joint pain is the worst part. For many people, the fatigue is the worst part, or just the overwhelm, or, or just not knowing what to do. A doctor might say you need to exercise. Well, what does that mean? Do you mean go to the gym? Do you mean run a marathon? Wait, Christy on Instagram, she runs marathons. I can't do that. So why even bother? People have so many thoughts that swirl around. So having someone to guide you
is very helpful. Absolutely. Because if you think, a lot of the things that we do during the day, if we, be more intentional, it's exercise. When we stand up and sit down and get up out of a chair, you're squatting, right?
Yeah, you are. You are.
If you just do that a couple of more times, get in the habit of doing that. I love a good modified squat on a chair, and it's effective. Just using the muscles in your legs to stand up and down. And there's so many hacks and modifications that, there are really no excuses, really.
It's true. And I think really seeing those possibilities, and I know in occupational therapy school, we learned about was it concentric versus eccentric contractions, where you hold a position versus I think the average person who hasn't done a lot of exercise might think that exercise always is moving your joints, or moving your body parts, but you could a wall sit is an example, or just you could just hold a position, and that could be helpful for your strength. Not as hard on your joints. So
exactly. I love a good isometric hold. You can just take a weight or a can good and just hold it, and just those biceps will start to burn.
Or you don't realize, it's until you try to sustain a position, you don't realize how the force of gravity is so strong. If you just try to put your arms out in front of you and just hold them there for 5 minutes, you're these are heavy.
Exactly.
Your own body has a mass.
Yes.
So it's so good. I really hope people are feeling inspired by this. It's not making it accessible, like you said, making it achievable, starting with where you're at. Is there anything else you wanted to share with the audience just about faith, food, or fitness today, or anything else? This is your chance.
Yeah. Well, I guess the last thing I would say, and it may just be, repeating what I just said, but, just know that you are enough. One thing that I am big on is affirmations too. So every morning, I repeat some of my favorite affirmations, and my favorite one is you are enough, because there was one point in my life where I felt like I wasn't. And so just speak kindly to yourself, know that you are enough, and know that you can do anything you put your mind through to. It may look different, than the next person, but that's okay. That's what makes you unique. Your purpose is unique. And so just use, what you have to motivate yourself, and maybe even inspire someone else, because there's oftentimes someone else that's going through what you're going through. So just continue to show up for yourself, whatever that looks like, because you deserve it. You deserve it. So mind over matter, show up for yourself, and just know that you can put your best foot forward, and you can do anything. So just start. The hardest part is getting started. So just start.
It's so true. That's so true. I just got this book from Dr. Kristen Neff. She's a psychologist. It's called the Mindful Self-Compassion Workbook. And she wrote a book about self-compassion. And the very first exercise is talk to yourself like you would your best friend. Like when your best friend is hurting, what do you say to them? You don't say like, well, you shouldn't have done that. Well, but we talk to ourselves so negative. We're so hard on ourselves sometimes. So yeah, I love that idea. Like reminding yourself you are enough is so powerful. It really is. Well, thank you so much. And I know that again, I'll put these in the show notes, but do you want to just say out loud for the auditory people, what your channels, your Instagram channels are?
Absolutely. So you can find me on Ashnick, that's ASHNIC _ Warrior Fitness. And I also have another page that's just RA Warrior Fitness, but follow me on both, but I'm more active on the Ashnick. And also on Facebook, you can find me as RA Warrior Fitness. My website is rawarriorfitness.com. So it's super easy.
Okay. And now I'm was containing myself from asking this, but now I have to ask it. Did you ever go back to the person who told you not to become a personal trainer and tell them how successful you are now?
Well, you know what? They can see it. Okay. They can see it.
You're right. It's not about, Sorry. I really want to talk to them.
I know, right? But yeah, they see it. I'm sure they're watching everything play out, because I actually did an article, an interview with Women's Health. And so I pretty much told my whole story, and, he actually saw that. And so he let me know that he saw it. And I'm like, well, I was just telling the truth. It's my truth. So, look at me now.
No, I think I said I'm a middle child. I have a very strong, sense of justice. Like I want the haters to become educated, when it's found that their haterness was unfounded, or, and there are times people, with a diagnosis like rheumatoid arthritis, there are people who, with your best interest at heart, will say things like, well, maybe you shouldn't do that because you might not be there are legitimate reasons to maybe say, let's say, I would say if my career was like a full-time, massage therapist, something that you can't at a certain point, how do you accommodate, you can't, I don't know, maybe you can, but I'm not aware of a way to truly replicate the massage process on your fingers,
right?
Without doing, so there's the reasons, I'm just saying, for in case anyone's we're not saying you can literally do any, it's, the idea is just that to tell someone, because you have this disability or this diagnosis, that you can't ever help others and be a personal trainer is really wrong,
People just need to really be careful about their words, and just think before they speak, because sometimes words can hurt deeper than anything else, but that kind of goes back to just trying to keep a positive mindset, and having that strong faith that you can, you can. So
you took that negative experience and you turned it into, such a positive. So I'm so glad that I met you on Instagram.
Yes. I'm so glad I met you too. And I was really excited when you reached out and asked me to be on your podcast. So thank you. I've been following you for a long while. So
I know it feels like longer. Like I started Arthritis Life as a YouTube channel in 2019. And I think I started investing in my Instagram more in 2020. But it feels like longer. Like
it feels like longer, but I think it's been since last year.
Yeah. Amazing.
So So.
Well, thank you so much.
All right. Well, you're welcome. Thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Yay. Bye-bye for now.
Okay. Bye.